I'm Pascal from Orangepixel and welcome to another video. And of course, if you're a regular viewer, it's in the living room. That means we're going to talk about some businessy type things. I think this is going to be my business type setting. So the question I get asked the most is, I'm a new game developer. Can you help me? Tell me some tips, what to do, what not to do if I would get into game development right now. And no, I can't really tell you that. When I got into game development, it was 2004. I grew with the market. The market changes every couple of years. There's just a shift in things. It has been like that for a while now. So in the next couple of years, things will shift again. And I've grown with it. But I can give you some tips and ideas and pointers. And I can think about how I would do certain things if I would start now. So I'm gonna just give you a couple of tips and thoughts and things and ideas based on my experience. Again, if you're new to the channel, I've been doing Orangepixel full-time since 2004. We've been living from it. It's been our income, my wife and me, since I think 2008-ish. First couple of years as Orangepixel, I did projects for other companies and that made money and it grew and grew and I created my own games and released them. I've been moving from platform to platform. First mobile phones, like before smartphone, before the iPhone, then smartphones, iPhone and Android, then PC, now I'm Switch, Xbox, PlayStation are in the works. I've been releasing on various other platforms that most people don't even know about, like the new Atari, the Ouya back a couple of years ago, I think a decade ago already. It's been that long. If you remember it, the Ouya, the little cube, Android cube that promised a lot, didn't really deliver. I've been releasing on a lot of other things that you might not even see or know or heard or read about. It's not mass market stuff, it's just other market stuff, unmass market. I got a lot of stuff to talk and share about. So this video I'll hope to explain a little bit on how you could try and get into game development. Since I get this question a lot, I probably sent a lot of you guys, you as a viewer right now, I sent you this link. You asked me the question. Hopefully this video will explain it all. And if there's more to tell in the future, I will do a follow-up video. But for now, let's do the intro and let's dive in. Okay, so you want to get into game development. You have a job, but you're not really loving it, or you're at school and you're not liking it. But the first tip, if you're having a job, you want to get into game development, don't quit your day job. Seriously, try to keep it on as long as possible. Maybe do it part-time or something, or find something to do part-time while you're working on games. Creating games is time consuming. You can't create a game quickly, and while you're working on the game you need to have some money coming in. That's pretty much how the world works. I'm not a fan of it either, but it's how the world works. We need money, sadly, to live. So try to have some sort of income, some sort of money coming in. Inheritance could also work very well, or very rich parents. Whatever works for you, try to have money coming in while you work on your game. You can make money on games. Obviously, I'm making a living from it for quite a while now, and it might end next year or the year after. But I've been doing it for almost 2 decades now, and it can be done. It's a business. It's not just creating games. There's a lot of stuff around game development that you also need to learn, and learning all those things takes time. Experience comes with time. You can't buy it or purchase it or download it on the asset store. Experience comes with time. So create a lot of games, create short games, but make sure you have money coming in from another job or another something beside it. That's how I did it at the start, like I just mentioned in pre-intro. Early years of Orangepixel, I created games for other publishers and distributors. My name isn't on there, they're not on my site, nobody knows that I created them. That's pretty much how it went back then. They would give me a lot of money, I would make a game in like 1 or 2 months. It was for It was for tiny mobile phones, so tiny games, but they had to be made by somebody. So I made games for them and they paid me for it, and then I was making my own games on the side and releasing them. I was doing a lot of work. I was a lot younger then, obviously. You have a lot more energy when you're in your 20s, so make use of that energy. Make use of all the time you have and put it into it. If you want to be a real game developer, if you really want to go for it, put all the time you have into it, but make sure you have some sort of backup making money somewhere, somehow. That's just part of the hustle before you can grow. So that's tip 1. All right, so tip 2 is start small. This, like literally everybody talking about this will tell you, start small. And a lot of developers still ignore that because they think they can handle it. But even if you know how to create games, even if this is not going to be your first game project, but it's just going to be your first game release as a professional, as a business, there's a lot more surrounding game releases and development than you are aware of right now. Simple stuff, how to get your game uploaded to Steam and how to properly manage that and how to properly push updates. As soon as something goes wrong, you need to make sure you know how to update that and fix those things pretty quickly. How to set up actual business. You got money coming in, and in most countries that means money has to go out towards tax agencies, accountants, other things you don't want to pay for, but they are there. You need to fix those things. Not your main concern if you just start out. Trust me, you can delay that a little bit and just figure it out as you go. Some countries will be much stricter on what you screw up, and others will understand that you screw up and you'll be able to fix it. And a lot of countries won't even know you screwed up, and you can fly underneath the radar. Eventually you get it all sorted out, but it is stuff that you need to learn. What if people don't like your game, start giving you bad reviews? You have to be able to handle that. I've seen a lot of developers that go mental as soon as somebody says something negative, banning other people from your Steam pages or removing comments or just going crazy and yelling at people. Stuff like that has happened. It's something you have to learn as well. Most feedback you're gonna get is gonna be negative, because it's gonna be a lot easier to give negative feedback than positive. If somebody likes your game, they'll be playing your game and not actually giving you feedback. If somebody hates your game, they'll quit your game and have all the time on their hands to just let you know that they don't like something or whatever, or nothing at all, and tell other people, warn other people not to get your game. You have to make sure you can deal with all that. Everything around it, marketing, promotion, there's a lot of stuff coming at you. I'm probably forgetting 10 different things right now. But you'll have to learn those things. And if you start with building a very big game that takes 2, 3, 4 years, and then you're gonna figure out all these things, you might mess up, and then you're messing up a game that took 4 or 5 years of your life. It's probably better to mess up a game that took just maybe 4 or 5 weeks or 2 or 3 months. That's a lot safer, because then you can learn, improve on the next one, do it again, try it again over and over until you get it right, and then do something bigger. So the scope is not just about what you know, and technically it's also everything around it. Don't waste your time if you don't know the market and everything around it. And it might all sound simple and easy, and you read about all these hit games and how those guys and girls did it, and how those solo game developers after 7 years released a game and they had a hit game and it's everywhere and everybody buys it and plays it and knows about it. But you don't hear about the thousands of other game developers that weren't as lucky. So if you want to get serious into this, prepare yourself for everything and just take your time for it. It's not a short-term thing. If this is going to be your business, it's long-term. So everything can take a little bit longer. Just make sure you have a good plan and you think about everything. That's probably the best tip I can give on scope-wise. Don't go big on your first game. Stay small and learn everything that you can learn. All right, the next thing that's going to be painful for the rest of your game development career: marketing. Seriously. Again, some people are natural at it and might just breeze through it and get things done. But most people will struggle with marketing, and it can start as soon as you got something. As soon as you got something to show, like I do on this channel. If I have a prototype, like last week, Heroes of Loot, it's far in development, but I already showed it on Twitter with little GIFs or little screenshots or little, just drop it here and there to see if people respond to it. And that builds up and that grows, and it easily takes up as much time as just creating the game. So make sure you put that time into it. Just creating a game and then you're very excited about it and releasing it, nobody else will care about it. You've been in this little game bubble for the duration of the development, so that might be just a couple of months, but it might be a few years. You've been loving this game, it's finally done, this big project of yours, it's everything you wanted it to be. Nobody else knows about it, nobody cares about it. That's hard fact. It's not a negative or depressing thought. This is just something you can work with. Knowing that nobody knows about it or cares about it means you can make them care or let them know about the game you're working on. Try to get their interest. Of course, you can do this one-on-one. Everybody in the world, tell them one-on-one. That's insane and crazy. So what you want to do is get a message to as many people as possible in one go. That's pretty much marketing. Now, there are other solutions. You can go with a publisher, you can go with a PR company, a marketing company. The thing here is they don't have a magic wand. They don't have the magic to just make it all happen. They have to do the same things that you can do yourself. The only difference between you and a publisher or marketing company, one, they can cherry pick the projects they want to work with. So while you are creating the game you want to create, they can just decide, well, we have 5 games being offered. Your game is nice, but the other 4 are much better, and this one is amazing. We're gonna go with this one, and sorry guys, our schedule is full. We're already publishing this game, so we don't have time for all those games. They have a winner on their hands pretty much because they got to cherry pick already. The developer did all the work, created a winning game, something that was probably already getting attention from an audience. The publisher or marketing company sees that. It's a safe bet. For a marketing company, it's a little bit different. They can still go with your game because you're gonna pay them. It doesn't matter if the game or if the promotional marketing is gonna really work on this game. There are marketing companies that will tell you, sorry, we don't really feel it, so we're not gonna promote it. Others will just gladly take your money and promote the game. And they will always tell you, well, we can't really predict or give guarantees, obviously. But that's kind of how it works. They get to cherry pick the winners and you get to cherry pick the game you're working on. And that's going to be the game you need to market and promote. The cool thing here is, and that's something you just got to keep in your mind and your head, there are probably 1 billion gamers in the world, if not more. And like 90% or 99% of that is not going to like or be interested in your game. That 1% might be, or 5 or 10%, they might be interested in your game. You just need to reach them and make sure they know where to find your game and how to get it. That's a lot less people than having to contact 2 billion people. So now you only have a group, but you have to figure out who that group is, where they are hanging out, how to reach them and contact them. And then hopefully a couple of thousand of them will buy your game. Then you discount the game and another couple of thousand will buy it. And over time, your game made money, hopefully. So that's marketing. It's really part of being a game developer and business. And of course, everybody's focusing on wish lists on Steam and all that stuff. It's important, but it's not the sole thing. And getting all your friends to wishlist your game doesn't mean they will actually buy your game, because you're probably going to give them a key anyway. So there is a difference between quality wishlists and just people who wishlist it because they are clicking a button. If you have a demo of your game, playable demo, and people play that demo and then wishlist your game, that's very likely that they're gonna buy your game when it's done. If you don't have a demo, they can't sample it, they just see screenshots and they just think, oh, I put it on my wish list and I'll see when it launches how it does and if I want to get it, or maybe on a discount sometime in the future. There's a difference in wish list. All that stuff you have to learn, but it's gonna be the same thing for every game you release. It's gonna be the same trick every time, and every lesson learned is gonna help you in the future, hopefully. Alright, so that's a couple of great tips. This is what I wrote down before I started making the video, and then last week on the Discord there was a little lively discussion on games and business and marketing and everything. It was sparked from a comment somebody posted on my YouTube video. I think my feature creep video 2 weeks ago. Somebody commented there that didn't really like the game I was working on. He thought I should release it already because it wasn't interesting. He didn't really like pixel indie games anyway. It wasn't really his game. He didn't try or play the demo. He just didn't like what he was seeing in my videos. So I should abandon it and create something else. That's fine, that's an opinion, and that's okay. You're probably part of that 90% out of 1 billion or 2 or 3 billion players that will not be interested in my game. That's fine. I'm aiming for the other group that is interested in my game. And this also created a comment, and I hear this comment a lot. And summed up, it's pretty much that you should be creating the game that people want to play. I hear this a lot, mostly from game developers that are more active on YouTube than actually releasing games. People that do a lot with statistics and after the fact data, or people that are just I don't know, they're not really developing or releasing games or creating games at all. Pretty much they are somewhat connected to the game development business, but not in the way of creating games. Of course, if you are in this to create a lot of money or make a lot of money and try to create the game that everybody loves, obviously that's sure. Sorry, I'm gonna say this. Flappy Bird, I know, if you remember it, it was a game and there have been thousands of copies of that game. Everybody thought, apparently people love this game, I'm gonna create this game and also make a lot of money. It didn't really work that way, obviously, for obvious reasons. Statistics will tell you this game is hot, it's a great genre, and this genre is doing very well, and that's all after the fact. And that's all when those games are done and looking at the games because they have made a name or are peeking out somewhere so that you are looking at them. There's a lot of games that you're not looking at, so you're missing a lot of data points in your statistics, and that's pretty much statistics. It will tell you exactly what you want to know. So sure, you can try to create a game that everybody loves and everybody wants and create that and go viral, and then you have a lot of wish lists and hopefully sell a lot of copies. I really hope you do. Talking to you, you know who you are. Hope you sell a lot of copies, but if first of all, game design is more than grabbing assets and pushing them together and then creating great visuals. There's just more to games, there's more to game design, and there's more to having that audience come back for your next game and not say, well, he did this before and it wasn't that great, we're gonna look somewhere else. So you want to build an audience, you want to build certain quality of games if you want to do this long term. If this is not a long term thing, if you're just into game development to create a quick buck, honestly, there are many better businesses you should try. There's a lot of different ways you can make money a lot easier and a lot faster. Not sure game development is the best option. Also, if you're gonna do this long term, and I never thought about this when I started in 2004, that this would be part of my life or my important part of my life. Like, this is how I would make money the rest of my life. I never thought about that. I did think about it long term, how to do this long term, how to create it into a business. But even then, 2 decades later, it's just, at times it's scary that this is my job, this is my livelihood, this is pretty much it. I can still change. I really believe that, not so much in midlife crisis, but I believe that if you're 50 or 60, you can still do a career change. If it's gonna be for the next 20 years, why not? I've been doing this for 20 years. Right now I'm 46. I could still do something else if I want to, except that learning new things, it becomes just a little bit difficult unless you are very motivated or into it, but it can be daunting, and usually you will find yourself on a certain path and follow that. So if you want to do this long term and you're only going to try to create the games that people want, I can promise you now, and I can tell you now, you're going to run into something like a burnout, or it's going to be soul crushing, or you're going to lose all interest and joy into creating games. I tried it for a while. Back in the mobile, before smartphones, there were these one thumb games. We had keyboards on our phones back then, and they were very tiny keys, so you couldn't really play with them. So a lot of people were just standing in metro or a bus or a train, and just one button was the thing. A game that could be controlled with one button. That's very limiting, and it's creatively it's very interesting that there's just such a limit. What can you do with one button? But after 4 or 5 games, and I created those games, you're pretty much done with it and you want to do other stuff. Then when Android and iPhone came on the market, touchscreens and swiping and all that stuff started to become the thing to control games, and I tried a lot of those games, but my heart wasn't in those type of games. I wanted to create arcadey-like games, so I needed controllers, I needed stuff like that. And as soon as I decided, well, I'm done with this, I'm just going to create the type of games I want, and I still know it's Meganoid, the first one back in 2010. That was the first game I decided, whatever, I'm done with creating the next best thing. This is not what I want. I'm going to create the games I like, and I'll just try to find people that also like that type of game. It worked out pretty well. Maybe not financially that I have any big hit games. A couple of games that did very well, but mostly for me. I'm very calm and relaxed most of the time. I enjoy every day of my life. I don't ever feel like I'm working. I'm always just having fun behind my computer, doing my own thing, creating my worlds. And that's pretty much, for me, much more important than being rich or making a lot of money on games. As long as we can just make a living and live in this house and do everything we want and have all the freedom I have. I work maybe 6 hours a day on average. I take breaks, I walk around outside just to stretch my leg, just to clear the head and just take it easy. And that's pretty much how I fill up my life. I've been working less hours, and that makes me more creative, and I do a lot more stuff within those hours. So for me, that really works. And the older I've been getting and the more I look around, a lot of money is great, but you still have the same problems. Instead of going on a holiday once a year, you might go on holiday 2 or 3 times a year, because now you have that money, so now you need to work for the extra money to make those extra holidays. And you want a bigger car, and you want maybe a second car. You just want more and more and more, and just need to work more and more and more. And for me, I don't really like cars. I don't need a lot of stuff as long as I have my computer and can create games. Of course, I have game consoles, but I don't know. If they break, they break, and I won't be playing any games for a while. It doesn't really matter to me, just as long as I can just live my own life and be free in terms of that. That's much more important for me, and that's pretty much why I'm doing the kind of games I do. I like to create these games. I have a vision and idea. I want to create that. And hopefully I'll find enough people that are interested in that type of game. I don't try to create the next best hit. So to wrap this up, because this is going everywhere. If you want to get into this as a career, try to create the games you want to create and you really like and enjoy working on, because it's gonna take a lot of time of your life creating these games. And you don't want your soul to be drained by stuff you don't really want to work on. I've seen a lot of people, and most people that ask me tips to get into game development are in a job that is soul draining. They don't like what they're doing. And a lot of people, sorry guys, but a lot of you are in web development. Apparently that's just horrible thing to be in. There's good money there, but there's no joy in there, apparently. So anyway, try to create the games that really give you joy and try to make that work. With every game you'll get better at it. With every game release you'll get more known and you'll have more out there, and people will start contacting you for business opportunities. Also a key thing, part of that first thing, release a lot of games, small games, get your name out there. But that's it for this week's video. It's getting a very long, chatty video. Thanks for watching all this time already through all of this. I hope it was informative and interesting. Next week we're going to talk about Regulated City, probably the game I've been working on, and according to some people, working on for way too long. Right. Thanks for watching. Bye.